Okay. All right. This is a real nice day today. I got up to 65. That's unusual considering this is winter. Okay. I have done something not too long ago. This is my old diary. I started writing in at the end of 2005. And I just started reading it and pouring through some of my old entries, and it got me thinking, which inspired this video. Is leftism less of an ideology and more of a young person's philosophy for life? So let's get into that now. I think this is just something that happens as we get older. We definitely get I believe intelligence, you have intelligence at pretty much any age. You can be very intelligent at any age, but wisdom is what you gain as you get older. Wisdom is like the kind of smarts that really count. And as I was flipping through some of these entries, I was surprised at how similar some of the ideas I had in 2005 and 2006 were very leftist sounding. And the words I used right-wing nutcase, troglodyte, redneck. You're telling me this is 20 years ago. I know we change in 20 years. We change in 10 years. So maybe this isn't surprising. So it's weird. I mean, if you've been listening to many of my videos lately, I dog on the left and the liberals a lot. But it's surprising to look back and realize that there was a time when I used to align with them. And I was thinking, maybe this whole thing with the left, maybe it's something maybe some people outgrow leftist ideas after a while. For example, do you remember when you were a kid and you heard the story of Robin Hood? Did you think he was a cool dude? When you were like maybe 10 or 11, you probably thought, "Oh, look at this! Look at this! He's a hero. He's out there stealing from the rich to give to the poor. Ain't that great?" That's my idea of a hero. But as you got older, you realized things are not quite don't align like you think they are going to. I mean, that whole thing. And Robin Hood was probably a fictional kind of character, like King Arthur or Sir Lancelot. He might have been maybe he was based on a real person. I don't know, but that's not the point. The point I'm trying to make is things that the left tend to espouse always sound good. They always sound, to me, when I was in my 20s, they always sounded like the group that was always out trying to help the underdog. They cared about people that were different. They cared about people that didn't fit in or felt marginalized or ostracized from society in some way. So I guess it was very natural that I might have aligned more with leftist ideas. Of course, another thing I want to point out is back in 2005, I don't think they were as unhinged and radical as they are today. Who was president? Yeah, George W. Okay, I don't remember I never heard anybody on TV having a meltdown over George W. getting elected and reelected. So, what do you guys think? I mean, do you think leftism is kind of an idea? Do you think it's just kind of a flawed ideology that sounds better than it is in practice? Or do you think that it's I don't know who it was that called leftism is just the ideology of the envious. Like, X group has this, and we should get access to that too. In other words, it's a very juvenile way of thinking. Group, get tied up today. Group X has money, resources, etc. Blah blah blah. We should be able to have access to what they have. We should be able to take from them. Yeah, and I mean, if you listen to that, you know how childish that is. Here's the thing. Whenever I hear people on the left saying things like, "We got to tax the rich," or "We got to the rich this, the rich that," every time I hear that, I chafe because they're not really looking at the whole, how do you define someone who's rich, especially in this day and age? Is it someone who makes 6 figures a year? Is it someone who makes 7 figures a year? And besides, you may have a next door neighbor who could be a millionaire and you wouldn't even know it because not everybody who's rich flaunts it, you know? And besides, Joe Millionaire is not the reason you're miserable. You should not be espousing in the idea that you should be able to take from Joe Millionaire next door. It's not people like that that are hurting you and me. It's the 1% that is hurting us. You see you follow me? Because they're behind the policies, and I stress this, leftist and liberal ideas are not inherently bad. Liberal policies they do hurt us. Just something to mull around. So that's pretty much, do you have anything you want to add to this? What do you think? Did you at one time when you were like the college age, I mean, what is a more fertile ground than introducing young people to leftist ideas than college and universities? You should watch that other video I did on why I don't recommend college. You'll like that one too. But so anyway, just something to think about. Well, let me hear from you in the audience. Do you think leftism is an ideology rooted in jealousy of people that have stuff, or do you think it's kind of a young juvenile way of looking at life before you understand it better? Of course, there's people that are young and when they get older, they might switch up when they get wiser. But there's also people. Like, for one thing, I used to really admire liberal women in the past. I used to think of them as pioneers. They had this new way of, they used to tell women that you don't have to just settle for a mediocre life or just get married and having kids. Yes, believe it or not, I used to really look up to women like that. But when I learned the truth about them, and the truth is, how many of those women that this stuff they talk about actually works for? It's usually celebrities, high-profile actresses, singers. Who's always involved in philanthropy and charity work? It's always celebrities, right? Does that mean that regular people like you and me are not interested in doing stuff like that? No, it's because opportunities like that are gatekept. The celebrities are the ones that get all the glory. I mean, these people are like next to king and queen, a blue blood, about on that par. These people have access to nannies for their kids, cooks, personal trainers, butlers. The list goes on. They have no reference point of what it's like to live in middle America today and struggle with these cultural changes. So that's why I quit admiring women who were more on the left, because I saw the game for what it was. I saw that most of them are at that upper echelon of society, and it's like the illusion just kind of came off after that. So that's why I don't listen to them anymore, and I don't take anything they say seriously, and you should feel the same way. They're insulated from our way of life and the side that's, kind of negative and always disagreeing about who should have what and all that. So, well, that's pretty much it. Starting to get dark in the sun, so I'm going to close this up. So let me hear from you. Let me hear your thoughts about leftism and liberalism. And when you got older, did you quit embracing it? Did you see it for what it was? Or do you feel like it's a life stage? Do you feel like it's a life stage where you're eventually going to outgrow or what? Okay, well, I will talk to y'all later.